really warm welcome from me. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Richard. I work as the Chief Exec for The Key. We're going to be joined on this call by three of our fab team. Rachel, who looks after the digital work that we've been doing that you'll hear about. Leah, who is our head of operations, and Jack, who looks after the coordination of our program delivery. So the idea of the call today is we've been doing some stuff and making some changes, and we're really excited to tell you about Key Plus, which is our refresh of the Key model, which I know so many of you use to such great effect. The day probably breaks down into three parts. We'll tell you about the model and what we've done to it, Key Plus. And a lot of the actions that we've taken are in direct response to the things that you talk to us about. We'll give you an overview of the new digital platform. We are very excited about being able to transition over from our existing digital platform to a brand spanking new one. And then finally, at the end, we will tell you what the next steps are and also give you a chance to ask us anything. So I hope we've got a really good hour ahead for you. Looking back over the last 10 years, the Key has been involved in over 6,500 projects that young people have chosen, that they've followed their interests with. That was over 26,500 young people who were involved in that. And that meant that we were able to generate and invest over £1.6 million in the things that young people have chosen for themselves. I just thought I would take this chance while I'm speaking just to tell you about an event that I was at a couple of weeks ago. And it was by a group called Stand For, who were operating over in Benwell. And it was a really, really inspirational event. They were at stage 3, so they were doing a project to help others in the community. And what stuck in my mind about it was they're a really diverse group, so brilliant to see diverse young people in Newcastle working together. And they'd set up an event to celebrate the work. What they had decided to do was they'd had a couple of projects just to build up their group and to get out and about. And for their third project, they decided to make a podcast about different social issues such as racial inequality, poverty, educational inequality. And the two things that stood in my mind about the event were, number one, the young people were really clear that at various times they'd got really fed up and they wanted to stop, they wanted to pack in, they didn't want to carry on, but they had carried on thanks to some brilliant facilitation by Chloe. We also went over as well to try and pep them up a little bit, but it just struck me that when you are absolutely on the point of giving something up, but don't, and carry it on and get there and then end up with a fabulous event where you are able to tell everybody about the brilliant things that you've done, that's exactly where the Key is aiming to be, because that really is where young people can see that with that perseverance and support, they can use their skills to make fantastic things happen. So it just struck me that where you can get that almost perfect level of challenge where young people almost give up but don't, it's probably the maximum impact. So I just thought that was fantastic. And then secondly, one of the young women concerned, she's actually one in the top right window that you can see, she was really clear that as part of their podcast, they'd interviewed the MP for Newcastle, Chi Onwara, and she was just saying, like, having met Chi, I've totally realised that people like me can become MPs, and I'm really interested in that now. And again, I just, private reflection, I just thought that must symbolise what the Key's trying to do and how we're trying to work with our delivery partners like yourselves to allow young people to realise what is possible, to support them to realise that they've got what it takes, and to help them to widen their horizons. So I really enjoyed being at that event, and it seems to symbolise to me everything that the Key stands for. And I think what the Key does stand for is what we keep coming back to as a team is 4 things. First of all, we provide a way for young people to steer how resources are spent. they get a chance to talk about the things that they're interested in and make sure that money is steered into that. And I think that's a brilliant thing. Secondly, by being involved in the Key, young people are able to be involved in a range of enriching activities and projects. Again, the things that they've chosen, the things that they've wanted to make happen and then made happen with their skills. Thirdly, as most of you will know, we try throughout the process to just keep pegging young people back to thinking about the skills that they're using and the fact that this is happening because of their capabilities and the opportunities for them to work on their strengths and work on their development areas in order to make everything happen. And then fourthly, the Key is a way where we can gather young people in with a lower bar at stage one, and they can make the things happen that they're interested in. And then it gives them the stepping stones to taking some action in their communities to do the things that they think will help their communities. And look, I think all four of those things, voice, stuff to do, skills, community involvement, are timeless. And I know that I won't get any argument from the kind of organizations that we've got on this call today. All of that said, well, Key's like anybody else. We need to keep listening to the people that we're trying to serve and that we're trying to work with. We need to try to understand where our place is in the overall scheme of things. We need to be really careful to listen to both young people and our delivery partners. And we knew that there were things that we had to change. We had a lot of very legitimate grumbles about our IT platform, so we've acted on that. But we also tried to really think through what the Key is trying to achieve with young people and what our partners and young people had asked for. So we didn't just focus on a new digital platform. We've really tried to think through and take the opportunity to refresh the model and make it as effective as possible. So we're really excited about what the forthcoming year has got to bring. Key had a tough period through COVID, as a lot of you did. Like a lot of organizations, funding challenges are real for the Key, as for a lot of us. So we're really trying to make sure that what we do sets us up to move forward into a new chapter. And talking about a new chapter as well, and she's on the call, I'm really pleased about that. It's a really big time for the Key because we've reshuffled the roles that some of our staff are working in. But part of that reshuffle is that when I came into post as chief exec, the long-standing previous chief exec, Hannah Underwood, who I'm sure many of you will know, moved into a new role as director of innovation and growth at the Key. We had big plans for that, and Hannah did some really important work towards some of the changes that you are going to see today. But there was a little baby human being by the name of Phoebe Underwood that had the temerity to interrupt all of our plans. And actually, Hannah has been off on maternity leave for the best part of the last year. So we had to put alternatives into place. And Hannah is now carrying out sort of her natural progression plans and has started her own small organization. And I am delighted to say that we are going to be one of the organizations that she is working with as she gets that stuff off the ground. So massive thank you to Hannah for all of her work, and you'll be hearing more about our arrangements to celebrate Hannah's time with the Key at a different time. So without further ado, we've got some video assets that we hope will make it really clear to you what we've done and really excite you and make you want to use Key Plus with your young people as often and as much as possible. So I'll hand you over to our tech wizards who will show the video, and then after that, Leah, our head of ops, is going to talk you through some of the changes.
The Key is a charity focused on inspiring young people to believe in themselves, and especially focused on those who are facing challenging circumstances. Since 1992, we've worked with a community of partners to deliver funded, youth-led activities. We are looking to develop relationships with organisations who are committed to creating a world where all young people are inspired to believe in themselves and empowered to achieve their full potential. We've seen young people engage with Key Plus and develop in such amazing ways, and we know that it can add value to your organisation too.
Our programme Key Plus focuses on what young people want to do and starts with the capabilities they already have. Key Plus has 3 main stages. Within each stage, young people form a group and progress through a 5-step process to think, plan, pitch, do and review their own projects.
Transitioning through the programme sees young people develop essential skills, increase their confidence and sense of self-belief, and recognise the positive impact they can make in society. Once they've completed all 3 projects, they can access follow-on opportunities directly with the Key.
They are just so much more confident in themselves. They can critically think in ways that I haven't really seen young people do before. They're so much more aware of social issues and things that are going on in their community, and overall they're just so much better as working as a group. Go on to do amazing things because of all the development and the projects that we've been doing with the Key.
Key Plus is highly versatile and has been used in a wide range of settings to engage, develop and inspire thousands of young people. Whilst the environment and circumstances facing the individuals can often be very different, the steps remain the same.
So starting projects from start to finish, I think is really important. The process that they go through is really good for the students, and a lot of the students that we work with wouldn't always get that opportunity to do work experience and to be able to see a process through from start to finish and benefit from it.
The Key is passionate about giving as many young people as possible the opportunity to transform their futures with Key Plus, and we're keen to partner with as many like-minded organisations as possible. We offer a comprehensive package of support to all our partners, including access to our trusted youth-led skills development programme, with funding where required for young people to lead and deliver projects, as well as access to our user-friendly system that monitors activity and produces custom impact reports to help your organisation evidence the difference you're making. Throughout it all, we'll also offer you the training, guidance and support that you need to deliver Key Plus with your young people.
With the Key, like you can decide what you want to do. It's like more for you, and it's about young people developing.
They're confident and just
to win.
Fantastic. So I'm just going to share with you and unpack a little bit more of those Key Plus improvements. So as Richard mentioned, we've spent some time talking to you and finding out from yourselves and from your young people about your experiences of using the Key. And like Richard mentioned, we did set out to create a new platform, a new IT program, but we also ended up thinking that the program itself needed a bit of a refresh. So we developed Key Plus, and Key Plus supports improvements across 3 main areas, which I'm going to unpack for you now. So we've got greater impact here. We wanted to create a scaffolded skills development journey for young people through Key Plus, through which they would feel a sense of achievement through completing the programme itself and having developed their skills at each stage. But when we looked at our data, we could see that very few groups ever made it to stage 4. And as a result, 90%, over 90% of the young people who went through the Key never actually made it all the way through. So it's mentioned in that video there, and you can see it in the graphic here. We have made Key Plus a 3-stage programme, and this hopefully gives young people more opportunity to get that sense of achievement that comes from completing. Each stage is now more clearly defined. So there's a real greater sense of challenge and making skills improvement more central to each stage. And as you can see, we've given them little names. So we've got stage 1, which is Kickstart Skills, stage 2, Exceed Expectations, and stage 3, Youth Impact. We've also tried to remove some barriers to progression. So we've heard from you that it has been challenging at times to take groups all the way through, especially because groups change and things like that happen. So we just really want to give you more flexibility around how your groups actually progress through the stages. So we'll still have our guidance as to how we think groups are best to form and get the most out of it, but we want to offer more flexibility where it's needed around group progression. There is a reduction in skills wheels. When I was chatting to some of the young people last summer, somebody said that they found that they can be quite repetitive. So we have chosen to take out the middle skills wheel. We know that we can still get that idea of progression through skills from the first and the last skills wheel at each stage. So we've taken out the middle skills wheel to make it easier for everyone. Stage 3 will now offer a slightly wider variety, so young people can choose to either focus on social action project or a enterprise project. So, you know, we just want to support young people's ambitions there. If they've got a little micro business that they want to try, then they can potentially do that in stage 3. There's also greater opportunities for young people to progress. So not only does that include the plus stage, which is like a bespoke opportunity now for young people to engage directly with us as the key, doing something that potentially we offer to them or us collaborating with their ideas. But it's also the chance for young people to become young panel members and young facilitators. And we've seen some of that happen this year, which has been really exciting. We also want to continue celebrating achievements to be a really strong theme running through Key Plus. Here we are trying to make sure that that happens, that we celebrate alongside young people when they have completed their projects. And so we're giving out well done packs, going to see them at their different events and things like that. And we have actually revamped our certificates. And now on each certificate, there is a breakdown of what the young person has achieved at that stage. So our hope with certificates is that every young person who goes through a stage will receive a certificate, and on there, they'll be able to take that out into the world and really show people what it is that they have done. We're also about to launch a new website. So on the website, there'll also be a place for people to click, you know, have you seen a key certificate? Here's what the information is behind that. Here's what young people have achieved to get that certificate. We want to think about creating better key community among our users, among you guys. So I'm going to ask you to do a little poll in a moment, but somebody came to us with an idea of creating facilitator hubs in the local communities amongst users. And we think it's a great idea, and some of the benefits of this could be meeting and supporting new key members and sharing your best practice and expertise, networking with other people in your area, and meeting and becoming and recruiting and offering to be new panel members. And we think that could be a good opportunity for you guys to better help each other in terms of panels and things. We think this could happen on a bi-monthly basis, potentially locally or online. But there's going to be a little poll that's going to come up on your screen right now, and I'd be really interested to hear and to see, is this something that you would be interested in attending? And second question is, would you be interested in hosting that as well? So it'd just be good for us to get a feel of whether that is something that is of interest to you guys or not. So our second focus of improvements is around ease of use for facilitators. And as we've already mentioned, we do have a new system coming in, which is very exciting. It's more intuitive, there's more information on there, and you'll have greater oversight of your Key Plus delivery. But most importantly, the most exciting thing about it is that there is a young person's account area. So that means that young people will have the opportunity to take much greater sense of control and responsibility for their projects as a whole. They will be able to fill in an online skills wheel. So no longer should you have to replicate the skills scores in the system. The young people will be able to fill them in themselves. And they'll also be able to participate in other areas like uploading the budget themselves, uploading photos, uploading receipts and all that sort of thing. So we're really excited about that. We think that's going to bring them much closer to the practicalities of the projects themselves. We also wanted to streamline some difficult processes that came through to us when we were doing the research, and administration of the grants was an area that people said to us was just a bit of a pain. So we want to trial a way of simplifying this, which is trialing a reimbursement model. And what that means is when you're granted your project, your funds will be ring-fenced as usual, and then you will pay for the project out of your own funds. And once the project is complete and the evaluations are finished and receipts are uploaded, we will then transfer your grant for the exact amount of the spend. So your funds will be guaranteed as usual. I want to really make that clear. But what it means is that you don't have to send us back £2.52 or whatever at the end of the project, and it should just make that whole process less time consuming and easier for you. I would like to stress though that it's not at all intended as a barrier. So if cash flow would be a problem, or you can't see how that would work easily within your organisation, I would encourage you to come and have a chat to us and we can work something out with that. So value for money for organisations. I'm really excited about this. I hope some of you will be renewing with us at the moment, and hopefully you have received an impact report. It doesn't look exactly like this, but this is some of the information that's on there. So we're really wanting to tell you as organisations more about what your key membership has been able to help to achieve. So on your impact report, which if you haven't renewed yet, you will receive one near to your renewal date. And what that will share with you is information that your membership has helped to enable. So for example, how many grants how much micro granting finance you've received, the skills development of your young people, how many young people you've worked with, and lots of different information on there. And it's also something that we are continuing to develop. So if there's data on there or data isn't there that you think you'd really like to find out about, please let us know, because we'd like to just make sure that they're as useful for you as possible. So further things that are going to offer better value for money, there's improved data reporting on the system. So that helps you just to keep a better track for your delivery. There's extra benefits as usual, our Key Awards, which we're super excited about hosting in person this year, which I think will be great. There's Key Facilitator Hubs, if that's an idea that you guys like and we run with. Well done visits as usual. And we've also refreshed our Key Plus training, and our aim with the training is to make sure that it covers everybody. So not just those who may be proficient and practiced in youth work, but also those who are coming to use Key Plus and they're like a volunteer. We are hoping, if possible, to have most of that in person. And if we can see more of you at Mere House, we'd absolutely love to do that. We've taken off the limits for facilitator training, so we'd welcome you to train all the facilitators that you want to be using Key Plus. That might mean that from time to time we have a bit of a check of how many are on the system that don't use it, and we kind of narrow that down, but we just encourage you to train who you want to be trained to use the system and the project. There are new resources and materials available, and we're super excited about our little lovely suite of videos that are going to be embedded in the system for the young people to access themselves. And they will be at Think, Plan, Pitch, Do, Review. At each little step, there is a short video for young people to look at and be able to see what it is that's expected of them at that stage and what it is that they should be doing. So we're excited about those new resources, and we'll continue to add more as we go, including we are just about to write and publish some Key Plus session guides as well. Next slide, please. So our membership package is being updated to reflect the reduction of stage 4 and also how organisations have tended to use their project credits. There's a lot of members who don't utilise all of their credits, so we have made to be fewer credits at each tier. However, we haven't wanted to implement any price increases, and along with the new system and no limits on facilitator training credits, we really hope that you'll still see this significant value for money there. If you feel like a large membership isn't enough and you would want to have more credits than that, then we'd invite you to have a conversation with ourselves about a bespoke package if appropriate. I just want to go over our Key Plus overall benefits. So there should be greater impact for young people, this increased sense of challenge, reward, completion, and then further opportunity. We're hoping that you as facilitators will have your time will be freed up, and your young people will be empowered to take more control within the project and use the system to achieve that. And there should be increased value for money for your organisations. and you'll be able to see through the impact reports what difference it's making. There's improved training and there's better resources. So I just want to do one final poll, if that's okay, just to ask you, please, it'd be great for us to have a little bit of feedback. Can you please put, just to mark on the poll, which are your two sort of best features of what I've just described? So if you can maybe choose two that you think will make the most difference for you as an organisation, that would be really great for us to just get some initial feedback from what we've shared today. And once that poll's closed, we're going to watch a short demo of the system, and then I'm going to hand over to Jack, who's going to share the next steps with us.
The kit is designed for use on laptops, tablets and mobiles, so you can use it wherever you are. A simple menu takes you into a dashboard. This has an overview of everything that needs your attention. You can see projects in draft status, projects that have been granted, and you've got a calendar with upcoming panels on it. You can click on a project to quickly check whether its status has been updated. You can also see a list of all your young people, and you can add new ones into the system very quickly. If you add an email address for them, they'll get their own login to the system. You can also see your own profile, so you can keep your data up to date and choose whether other facilitators can see your contact details. The questions on the project form have been revised to guide you through the process. Looking here, we've got 2 projects in. We can click on one of them, come in and edit it. Very simple, very straightforward. We're at the think stage on this project, so we've got the early questions about the project idea. And you can add young people into the project at this stage. You can see in the columns next to it, you'll be able to see later on who's done their skills wheels. And you can also choose which of your young people are going to be allowed to edit the project. So everything's under your control. Skills wheels are now very easy to add. You can add them on behalf of your young people, or you can give them the choice to do it for themselves. So here we're adding one for Joe, and you can just tap on the sliders at the bottom, and as soon as the second one comes in, you can start to see the picture building up on the spider diagram. Immediate feedback on what's happening on here. Working through the 12 skills builds up that full picture. And then we've added questions to help the young people reflect and to set goals for themselves during the project, to focus on that skills growth that sometimes is a little bit lacking. They're more interested in what they can do. Once all the skills wheels are in, you can see any of them that are in the system, and you can see the questions that have been added as well. We've streamlined the process so that there are now only 2 skills wheels for each project. At the evaluation stage, you can see the first skills wheel while you're adding the second one. This helps the young people focus on where they have improved. And they get a different set of questions for self-reflection. Young people will get an email inviting them to log in. Very simple, use it on their phones. And they get to see a smaller set of options. They can see their profile, and they can just edit a few of their fields. And we ask them to tell us about the background, which helps us report back to yourselves about impact. It also helps us gain more funds for giving out microgrants in future. We need to be able to report on the demographic mix. They can see almost the whole project. They've got the dashboard, and you can ask them to complete some items like the budget or uploading photos and receipts. The vision is to increase their ownership while reducing your admin overhead.
So yeah, it's over to me to take you through sort of what's next. Hopefully, after seeing that demo, you're all sort of raring to go and itching to get let loose on the new Key+ platform. I know I am. I'm really excited about it and what it's going to mean for the young people that we work with. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our new training offer. So over the past 3 decades, I think the Key's really been predominantly used as a really great tool for youth workers. And I think what we're seeing now with Key+ is more of an evolution to what we see as more as a fantastic youth work solution for anyone who works with young people. I think the youth sector over the past decade especially has changed massively with the impact of austerity and a whole range of different external factors that just changed how people work. And what we've really noticed at the Key is that a shift from kind of youth workers using the Key to more volunteers, coaches, teaching assistants, teachers, a whole range of different people who don't necessarily have a youth work qualification but work with young people on a day-to-day basis. So I myself I was really lucky last year. I managed to earn a level 3 in youth work, so I had that opportunity. But we know that there's lots of people, lots of Key facilitators especially, who don't have that luxury, that time, money or opportunity to do the same. And so what we want Key+ training to involve is really try and help share that knowledge to equip and empower facilitators with those youth work skills and techniques that are just going to supplement the ways that they already work brilliantly with their the young people they work with. And what we also want for those who are trained, who have those qualifications, is also, as we all know, youth work and working with young people is really dynamic. It's ever changing. There's no 2 days the same, and so we want it to really be a chance for people to share ideas, learn from each other, and just sort of collaborate more across the network as well. So there's a whole range of things, not just training, that we're going to try and promote that collaboration. So it's going to be a mixture of both online and in person. So we're going to do it at different times, different days of the week, different, some will be morning, some will be afternoon, some will be evening. So there's going to be flexibility so that people all have a chance to get trained up. And then, yeah, we've also got some fantastic new resources as well that hopefully are going to supplement that training to help groups of young people and facilitators along the way. So I've actually had the opportunity to go out and work with groups and work with facilitators, which has been brilliant, and they've had a real input and impact on what we've done. So we've come up with some ideas and then sort of taken them out, changed things, adapted things, kind of shamelessly stolen some fantastic ideas from facilitators and young people who are using the Key on the ground. And that's what we really want Key+ to do, is to make the running of Key groups that much better in real life. So that feedback and input has been really rewarding. It's been really valuable for us. It's been eye-opening at times as well. But hopefully you'll see that all reflected in the training and the new resources that we've got with Key+. So yeah, we've really hoped that the sessions are going to prove to be informative, empowering, interactive and fun. I think we've all been on training courses where we've been kind of sat there and bored out of our minds, and someone's talked at us for hours and we come away not learning anything. We really want the opposite of that. We want things where there's interactive, there's little exercises, there's practical tips for you that's really going to help you run groups through Key+ and make a massive difference in young people's lives. Because that's what we're here for. So we've got some session scheduled in for May. So the way we're working it is, as you renew, we'll invite you on to training. So once you renew, we'll send out all the details so you can sign up for the various sessions, and we'll be rolling those out across the next few months, just to get everyone up to speed. So if we now just talk a little bit more about the membership. So there's a brand new partner booklet that we've got that I think there was a link to it posted in the chat. So if you want to click on that at some point, have a flick through. That really breaks down a lot of the benefits of signing up to Key+, what what you'll have access to, what resources you'll have, and things like that. So we'll transfer you on renewal. So if you are kind of only 6 months into your membership at the minute, then you'll sort of stay on the existing hub for a while. So don't worry about sort of losing groups that are right in the middle of stuff. You know, there's not like a cut-off date where suddenly those people all lose their projects. That'll still be running sort of parallel to the new system as well. So those existing groups will still have that opportunity, and then as you renew, we'll sort of transition across to Key Plus. But if you've got any specific questions that relate to your groups or your membership, please do just get in touch with us. We've got the membership email, or if you want to contact one of the team directly. So if you know me, feel free to get in touch with me. And if you don't know me, feel free to email us on and get to know me. And we'll figure out the best way forward for you as an organisation and how it's best going to impact your young people. Or as well, I think we're just going to move on to a wider Q&A session. So I'm going to hand back over to our lovely team who are working on in the background, coordinating everything and making us all look slick and professional. And they're going to give us some questions to me, Leah and Richard.
Thank you so much to everyone for engaging and sharing so many brilliant questions through. So one question that we've had, which Jack, maybe if you could take first, but how does the new programme resources and lesson plans help practitioners re-engage young people?
So one of the things that I've worked on that we think is going to be a really useful tool is we've kind of come up with some session outlines that people can follow. So for those who kind of aren't quite sure if it's maybe the first time they've used the key, what's the best way of kind of developing as a group, we've created a resource where you can follow sort of a 6-week programme that takes you through some suggested exercises. So what we've tried to do is bring that youth work element. So I've shamelessly stolen some of the resources and stuff that I was taught when I was doing my level 3, particularly around sort of group development theory. So Tuckman's sort of, if you've ever heard of sort of the forming, storming, norming process, we've kind of mapped the Key Plus program onto that and showed, and we're kind of going to give you exercises and little group activities that you can do to foster that kind of working together. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can use to sort of help your group progress through Key Plus.
Fab. And now one for you, Leah. How much time commitment do facilitators or practitioners realistically need to meet the new digital platform recording requirements?
So it's going to be challenging for me to give an actual time, but what I can say is what we've tried to do is make it so that the stuff that can be devolved to young people absolutely can be. So all the skills wheel stuff. So however long it would have taken you to upload skills wheels, that time is taken out and young people can do that themselves. There's the opportunity for the young people to update the budget, so you can leave them to do that element of it. There is a little bit more information to put in at the start when you're submitting your project to us. So we're going to ask a couple of extra questions there, essentially because we found that there was a lot of to and forth between the Key office and yourselves, trying to determine a little bit more information about your project. But what you should find really is that at the start there's a little bit more information to put in there, and then throughout the project there's not as much, you don't need to be quite as significantly involved. And then at the end there's an evaluation for the groups to do and for the individual group members to do, and yourself is one for yourself to do as well. And then there's just uploading receipts, photos if they're required, but we're hoping that the young people can do that as well. So there's definitely opportunity for you to reduce your workload, and once you've run a project through, time it start to finish and let me know how long it took. But yeah, there's definitely time-saving opportunities in there.
Great, thank you, Richard. I'm going to pick on you now. So there's 2 things that I'm going to combine together. So one member asked clarity around what the 3 credits were. They're a small membership, is 3 stages total and not 3 groups going through all 3 stages. and also then what that means for stage 4s.
Sorry, actually, I'm not sure I got that. So the question is, what are the three?
The 3 credits, just small membership in total, is that 3 stages in total and not 3 groups going through all stages. So just to clarify what the credit system is. And then also if you can clarify the sort of thinking behind stage 4.
Yeah, sure. So if you have a credit, that means 1 group at any stage. So if, for example, you take 1 group through stage 1 and stage 2 and stage 3, you will have used 3 credits. Or if you take 3 different groups through stage 1, then that's another way of using 3 credits. Or, for example, you might have 1 group that goes through a stage 1 and a stage 2, and then you have another group that does a stage 1, that's 3 credits. So each credit means 1 group at 1 individual stage. The idea with stage 4 is that, as Leah explained earlier, we really like the idea of young people being able to go through stage 1, stage 2, and then stage 3. If they do that, they will have had 2 trips of their own, sort of activities of their own choosing, and then done something around community involvement, either social action or something entrepreneurial. We didn't feel like stage 4 in its previous sort of setup really added enough to the process. So our ideas around stage 4 is that where you've got young people who've completed stage 1, stage 3, we're going to offer them the chance to hook up with other young people from different groups who have also completed, and they will be given a platform to come together, meet new young people, work out something that they would like to do together that has some sort of wider benefit, and do a stage 4. We're working with young people who they didn't know, who are from a different place to what they are, and that we felt really added something new into a stage 4. So as we get Key Plus up and running, and as we get groups completing their stage 3s, then Jack and Leah will be reaching out and checking out whether those young people have an appetite to go on and do some stuff around stage 4 with other young people. So we're really hopeful that again, you know, hopefully you picked it from this presentation, we're just trying to make sure that there's progression at each stage, and so that it feels like there's a motivation for young people and for you as delivery partners to keep encouraging young people to go through the stages. So the stage 4s will still be very much things that young people choose for themselves. It's their gig, but we'll be making some suggestions and giving them some ideas and working with them. And again, we would imagine that Jack will be much more involved at stage 4 than we have been previously.
Great, thank you. So Jack, there's been a question around the flexibility of training options. Could you perhaps give us a little bit more detail on how we're going to accommodate people who potentially need to engage with training outside of the usual working hours?
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, we've got a whole load of sessions lined up for May, and we'll be kind of carrying that out. And we've tried to kind of do as much of a mixture of online training and in-person training. So we're now I think it was November, we moved to Mere House in the middle of Newcastle. So we're reasonably accessible for people coming to training in person. There's some really nice training rooms that we use for that. And then we'll still keep the online option as well. But as much as anything, if the dates that we've come up with, if there's times that work better for you, have a conversation with us, speak to us, and we'll try and accommodate you. We've kind of if there's enough people training, we can look at coming out to do sessions occasionally as well, if there's enough facilitators to make that work, and we'll kind of do some training on site if you want to do batch training, or if there's better times that work for you. So we've got one of the 6 sessions is in the evening, but you know, if that turns out that's much more useful for people, then we'll do that. One of the things that we have kind of found with obviously youth workers is that they work in the evening, so actually often evening training wasn't that great for youth workers because that's when they were working with young people. But as we shift and for people who and maybe in different roles for teachers and things like that. So we'll try and adapt and change as much as we can and be as flexible as we can. And yeah, I love kind of the training and getting to meet new facilitators and share ideas, and I learn a lot from them as well. So yeah, as many opportunities to create touch points with with facilitators is always a good thing. So yeah, if the dates aren't working for you, speak to us, and we'll try and change it as much as we can and be flexible with it.
Great, thank you. Leah, question for you, maybe. So will facilitators be able to remove older groups from the system once they have left the organisation?
Yes, I saw that question come up and quickly messaged Rachel, who's been involved with the system, to find out what the answer was. So what I believe is going to happen is you'll be able to set groups and young people to inactive. So basically there'll be a way of kind of archiving groups that are no longer there. And the way that we've set up the dashboards to work is very much concentrated on live projects, live groups, live young people. So there'll be an option essentially for you to only see what's happening in the system, what young people and which groups are working through at the moment. And there should be an option to archive or deactivate some of the older members.
Great, thank you very much. So a question for you, maybe to start with, Richard. Is the young person's area like this, or is it more appealing for the young person? Some of our young carers have learning difficulties, and I can see that they would not be very engaged in just a purely text-based online system.
Yeah, first thing to say, really great question. If we organise another 17-day meeting, we'll tell you about our tech journey, and we've had some fun and games along the way. Without getting right into it, we had a choice where you can either pay for a bespoke digital platform, which is so expensive and was going to remain so, and then you can never change anything. You can't really respond to any feedback that you're getting without it being very expensive and having to always go back to the people who built it in the first place. So we opted for an emerging choice when one is building a new platform called low code. And what that means is that we will be kitted up in-house to make a lot of changes. So where you are using what we do with a group, there are a lot of things that we'll be able to strip out or add in. Some of the graphic stuff gets a little bit more tricky, and we've got people who we can use to change that. So we're totally focused on this working as well as it can for both our delivery partners and young people. It will get more and more visual. It will get more and more streamlined. We're only at the start, really. We're releasing, this first version. I'm sure there's going to be, as always with these things, some bugs that need sorting out, and I'm sure that we will make big improvements over the next couple of years. In all of our applications for funding, we're really being very clear with funders about, we're on a journey. We want to create a fantastic digital tool. This won't be the finished article by any means. So really looking forward to young people for the first time being able to get their phones out and enter their own skills wheel data. That's a massive step forward for us, instead of a facilitator harassed at the end of a session having to collect in scraps of paper and sort of enter them all themselves. You can still do that if that's how you want to roll, but really pleased that we've got that option now. But there'll definitely be improvements that we can make. The other thing to say on that is, in terms of learning disabilities, I'm really pleased to say that we've just secured a grant from the Postcode Lottery to really work on making some adaptations to Keyplus generally. We've got some brilliant delivery partners who have provided young people with a space to do some fantastic work. I was at Cheesy Waffles on Saturday actually for 5 panels with their young people who and it was just really uplifting. It was, they'd done some really good work. So we're very focused on this group, and not just on not excluding them, but also on creating a tool that really means something to them and that is something that they can use. We've backed that up with our funding applications. As I say, we've now got some funds. So those of you who are working with young people with learning disabilities, I know that if we haven't already been, we are sure to be in touch, because we want to try and find partners who we can work with to do the best that we can.
Great, thank you. We've probably only got time for one more question, and then we'll hand over to you to wrap up, if that's all right, Richard. So Leah, there's been a question come through that says, does completing a stage equal to any official accreditation?
The short answer is no, not at the moment. And we have looked at accrediting the course. We kind of felt like we wanted to kind of create our own brand, and that's why we've sort of added some more stuff to the certificates. So we want people to understand what young people have had to achieve through their kind of Key Plus journey. So we want to put a bit more information out there that can make the certificate something that is meaningful for young people to take forward. But we haven't added an accreditation as such. So yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything else about that, Richard.
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Leah. This is a great question again. This is really important to me. We operate in a very different way, and of course at a very different scale to somebody like, for example, the Duke of Edinburgh. What I'm envious of for the Duke of Edinburgh is that when young people have been through that award, albeit in the different circumstances and pricing and all the rest of it to the way the Key operates, but it's an achievement, right? Anybody else out there will say, all right, you've got your D of E gold, brilliant, that's good. A lot of the time those people won't really know what's involved, general members of the public, I would say, but there's a recognition, people take it as read, that's a great achievement, and that young people have done really positive things. And this is something that again has really informed the design of Key Plus. We want everybody, youth agencies, schools, colleges, sports associations, drama, the arts, all of our different types of delivery partners. When you have, had young people who have done work through the Key, where they've thought of their ideas, where they've planned them, pitched them, carried them out, evaluated it, filled out the skills wheels, from now on, you'll get really handy impact data from us that you can shout about in your reporting mechanisms. But also from now on, not quite yet, next to a couple of weeks, where young people will who've been involved in any stage of the Key will get a certificate from us that makes it very clear what they've been involved in and what they've had to do. And then should future employers or anybody else get one of those certificates and think, the Key, I don't know too much about the Key, what is the Key? They'll be able to jump onto our website, which we've redesigned. As I say, that's due for release in the next couple of weeks. And that website will be very clear to them about, okay, if you have a young person in front of you and they have completed a stage of the Key, that's what this means. And so we know that a really important part of our role is in sourcing funding and connecting funding to the groups of young people that our delivery partners are working with. And that means that young people can steer how that resource is spent on the things that they want. But we want to make sure that both young people feel a real sense of achievement. Now that might sometimes mean that I think one of the things that you might see more often, is it controversial? I don't know, is that sometimes I think you'll see more not regularly, but you will see more often at panels, the panel may say, actually, you're not quite ready yet, guys. Here's a couple of areas that you need to go away and do a little bit more work on. As soon as you're ready, come back and we'll go again with a panel. It'll never be a no from the Key, but it might be a not yet. And if we are going to make the Key a genuine challenge and achievement and skills progression journey, that has to be part of it. It has to be real. Young people have to get that proper sense of achievement. It's amazing being at Cheesy Waffles on Saturday. Just you could really see young people out of their comfort zone, answering questions, and then just, shouting, celebrating outside the room when they'd got through and earned their organisation the funds to do some brilliant work. So, we're trying to build the Key as a kite mark, and we hope that Key Plus very much embodies that and will be something that our organisations can use to evidence all of the fantastic work that they carry out. It's 1 minute to 3. I'll segue seamlessly into a couple of closing observations, if I may. First of all, there's a massive thank you to you all for attending. It's really important to us that we try to continue the Key's 30-year heritage by connecting groups of young people to the funds that allow them to follow their passions. And I think there's 4 things that are needed to make the magic happen. First of all, you need a group of young people, and it's you guys as delivery partners who are in the room with young people and making that happen. Secondly, you need those brilliant facilitators who want to do great stuff with young people and want to help young people to progress and develop and build their own capabilities. Thirdly, you need a great process. You need those facilitators to have tools that allows them to work with young people in a way that has the most impact. And then fourthly, you need the funding. You know, we've got to find the money so that young people can carry out their sort of dreams and their wishes. So we're completely focused on young people, the process, delivery partners, and trying to make sure we can continue to link funders out there with yourselves. We hope that today has really provided you with an insight into what's driven us, and encourages you to think, right, okay, you know, that is a great tool for us to use with young people, and that the key continues to be as relevant as it has throughout its 30-year history. We know that we operate in a very different way to the likes of Duke of Edinburgh and other organizations. This is a very adaptable tool that can be drag and dropped into lots of different scenarios, everything from youth clubs, sports associations. It's part of Newcastle College's curriculum. We've got some really exciting discussions ongoing with colleges. So we're very much trying to build out from the Northeast and make sure that we have got a best practice tool being used by yourselves who are doing all of the vital in the room work with young people. So really grateful for your time today. Hope that you can get signed up for training. Hope that you can you know, make that platform for young people to do brilliant things. And then finally, I just want to give a shout to our team at the Key, particularly Ashley, Abby and Jess, for all of the hard work about making digital events like this happen. So thank you very much. Great to see you all. We'll no doubt see you all very soon on training and refresher events, but please do not hesitate to get in touch. Give us the feedback, tell us what you need. That's the stuff that we're hungry to hear. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Take care.